We're live.
All right.
You get the Gazette at all?
No, I don't.
This was in the Gazette today.
Oh, cool.
Playing G's a killer, kind of watch out for it.
We put one of the networks and there's always at least two people to talk about that.
Is this a quorum?
Technically, yeah, there's 5 of us, so provided we're all unanimous about something, we can vote. But if anyone disagrees, then we'll have to reconsider for next month.
How many voting on it?
I don't know.
Well, the first thing we can vote on, did everybody have a chance to review the minutes from last week?
Yes.
Any corrections need to be made? I didn't notice anything.
No, good to know.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, now public speak. Recognize you.
I came to the last meeting. My name is Chris Lynch with Matrix Design Group.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to keep on top of what's going on.
Yep.
Great.
If I remember correctly, all I do is
He gave us a card, right.
Yeah. They give me a box of thousands of them, so if everybody's like,
I got his card. I think I even get one last time. Great. Thank you.
anybody else?
I have it at home.
Okay.
So again, you guys at Matrix, you do installs of fiber optic networks.
Well, we've been building fiber networks for over 22 years. We've literally built thousands of miles, including 2 multi-million-dollar smart grids for public service in New Jersey, all of the connections for Rutgers University, all their campuses throughout New Jersey. We've built 10 rural New England towns, fiber to the home, and we're in the process of building 5 more. Now, the last one we're building is for the town of Payson, which is a public-private partnership. We're looking at a model where we're going to invest in paying for the build of the fiber network as long as the community gives us the right of way on the poles. And the make ready is not inexpensive, so we'd be putting a lot of money in, but the town would be also, or the city would be putting in something as well. So. And at some point, I'd love to give the presentation to you guys.
Yeah.
But I'm not on the agenda. I just wanted to say
Cool. Well, if you, with the chair's permission, like if you wanted to just give us a heads up at some, like for a week or 2 heads up before one of the next meetings, we can make sure you're on the agenda.
Okay.
So
Well, when you figure out when the next meeting is, I'll just check my calendar. And let
it's
you
the
know.
first Monday of every month.
Yeah, first Monday of every month. Which threw me off this week.
Yeah, that's like a really screwed up.
Yeah.
Next meeting is June 3rd, according to the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay.
June 3rd will work for me. I'll put it on the calendar.
Here, you can email me if you want.
Okay.
So,
Thanks,
any
Paul.
questions or anything? Yeah.
Great.
All right. So, moving on, Holyoke Gas and Electric meeting, I wasn't able to.
Yeah,
go
they
there.
weren't either.
That's right, okay.
Well,
Well, you got to go visit.
we
We
visited
were
that.
there,
They
we were
supposed to-
there, but they didn't come to the meeting for their presentation.
Right.
They weren't.
Right. They were.
Have we rescheduled that, or
I don't think we
was
didn't.
Kevin the point person for that?
I-
Or was he
I don't
exchanging
remember.
emails?
Hey guys, before we get too deep into this, is one of us going to do minutes for today, or are we just going to shoot the video over to Kevin, or what's the game plan here?
I can keep some minutes and then watch the video. And
Yeah, I would say the only thing that's important is just if there's any split vote, which
Yeah.
sometimes is not always easy to figure out who voted which way from the videos.
Yeah.
So, okay. Sorry to interrupt.
Nope.
So you guys went to HG&A.
Yes, we did. And they told us a lot of very interesting stuff, including the fact that they still have the tower, functional tower on Mount Tom, if we want to work with them through that route as well.
When you say tower,
There's a radio tower up on
Okay.
top of Mount Tom that they own, and
okay,
they have fiber connecting to it.
so they
You
could.
could do some kind of point of line of sight. Kind of like, do you remember GAW? Were you around when GAW was around?
Yeah,
In Easthampton? It was, they were off of Mount Tom and it was wireless, but you had to have a line of sight to Mount Tom.
When the mountain gets all misty in the morning, does that just shut it down, or?
I don't
I
think
never
so.
signed up
I
for
think
golf.
I think it has to be something solid,
Okay.
you know, like a tree limb or something.
But there was some idea of, there was some
Right.
talk of like, oh, this is possible, and the technology's changing all the time, so keep this in mind if you want to explore it more. We can talk about it.
Right.
Yeah, as much as possible, I personally would like to stay away from broadcast technology and stick with wired or fiber technology, just because of the whole issue that is becoming more and more prevalent about, you know, the health problems of EMF radiation.
And we've also heard there's regulatory issues when you go into, if you become a wireless provider. It's a lot different than if you are a like home utility provider. I think that's what they were saying in Greenfield.
Yeah? I don't remember them saying anything about that.
Because they do both.
Greenfield does, yeah.
Remember we had asked, or I'd asked about the potential if they'd sold like hotspots.
I think they were talking about wireless cell phone service, not wireless internet.
Okay. Okay.
If they become a cell phone provider, then there's a whole other set of stuff involved. But because they're wireless from pole to home, all over town.
Right. But
And in larger buildings, they go to the building and distribute within the building on Ethernet. So they're doing both as far as the internet goes. They're not doing anything in terms of cellular.
right.
Okay. But anyway, Holyoke, what else did you?
Talk to what,
Yeah, okay.
Well,
Okay.
just servicing businesses and not necessarily having a plan to do any kind of residential service.
Yeah, what's the deal with that? Because they've set up residential
I think
builds in
that's a-
other municipalities.
I think it's a third rail kind of a situation. I think because they have more, it's more of a rental community than a home ownership community. I think there's some, like, could the population afford it at a rate, you know, with the market share rate that would make it viable for them to do it. They do a lot of the businesses and they connect a lot of, they were talked for a while about connections with banks, doing secure, encrypted fiber or
And also,
just
you know, large
communications.
corporations with
Right.
multiple sites, they set up,
Yeah.
you know, internal.
But they didn't have any plan to do residential
Right.
anytime soon, even though the whole the whole city is wired.
Sure.
I think it's probably more about they would probably get fewer landlords willing to fund that cost once they run the fiber to the building. Getting it into each of the units would probably be cost prohibitive.
And, you know, the other big difference between them and us is that they do generate their own electricity. So, you know, their nut, so to speak, is already covered by the electrical sales.
Right. Yeah.
So this is just gravy. So, you know, they don't have, you know, every home in town, it really doesn't matter.
Right. Interesting stuff.
Did they say if they had tried any residential or just had never even?
They just don't even. I don't think it's even in their roadmap right now. That's what I got, and they didn't talk a ton about it. But that was there.
I mean, they are doing the residential project in, what was it, South Hadley? Or Hadley?
Yes, they are managing that. Yep.
So, I mean, it's not that they're, you know, opposed to residential connections, it's simply that they feel it won't work for them in Holyoke.
Cool. And did they had expressed some potential interest in doing
In helping us, yes.
stuff with
Yeah.
us? So we're getting a good number of
Yes.
interested parties.
We have lots of people to get quotes from.
That's great.
Excellent. Okay, any other takeaways from HG&E that were interesting?
Cool building.
Yeah.
A really neat old building. Where they do all their, just the fiber stuff out of there. It's right over by the old train station, I guess, that they're rehabbing.
Yeah,
That they own
that's
now.
right behind them.
Yeah.
Do they do their own in-house, customer service, tech support, similarly to,
I believe so, but again, it's business oriented, and a lot of businesses will have their own internal tech support where a homeowner won't.
Yeah, we didn't necessarily tour. Did you tour the rest of the building?
No,
They didn't show you any of the command center or anything like that? Yeah, we didn't see it like we did with Whip City.
Greenfield. Yeah.
I didn't go to the Greenfield one, but yeah, with
okay.
Westfield.
Westfield, I wasn't there yet.
That was impressive. Yeah.
Okay, well, moving on. The survey, I don't know if you guys got a chance to test it out, but I did earlier today.
Yep.
It looks fantastic.
Great.
Yes.
I had some people look at it too, so I got a little bit of feedback and some changes, some subtle changes to make. But I think, yeah, if nobody else had any feedback.
No, it looked like it covered the bases and was easy to get to and easy to navigate through. I think it's pretty much ready to go.
Okay. The one, Kevin was gonna also look at it one more time and give me a minute last week, so.
I did have one thing I noticed. I think it was question 10, and I can't remember exactly what the question was, but it was...
Question 10 of which one?
Oh,
Of the
residential.
residential?
Yeah.
So yeah, did you understand what I was saying about, based on your answer to the first question, it takes you to a different part of the service, so there's just some branching logic
Yeah,
in the survey software.
that was a really good way to do that.
So my only concern is that getting people who are both residents and business owners to come back and do it twice. That's my only thing, but I put pretty explicit instructions in there.
Right. If they don't, then
Right.
we're talking still. You figure there's probably a good deal of business owners who are not residents, and there's lots and lots of residents who aren't business owners. So that Venn diagram, I just don't think that's necessarily a giant liability.
And then I included those other two options for people that, for instance, when we send out the survey through the Chamber of Commerce, there's businesses that aren't Easthampton located that would receive it and might take it. So if they do, I just basically, I'm a business outside of Easthampton, but I'm, looking at moving potentially, and then just collect some information about how important internet access is to their business.
Right.
So,
Okay.
That would be fairly easy to deal with by, making the first question, is your home or business located within Easthampton?
Right.
And if they select no, then it goes to a sorry.
oh yeah, it does do that.
Yeah.
It does, and it does put them it just gives them one question beyond that.
Yeah,
That says,
okay.
hey, if you were going to move here, how important would it be?
Yeah, that's awesome. I think it's a really good idea.
So at least it gives us some. So I thought I'd do a small, if we all had a chance to do this, and then I could get our responses, and then once I give it to Ashley, who is the head of IT in Easthampton, he can scrape he can just basically bring it back to its original state, and then we can do it from there and collect people's responses.
Okay.
I hope this doesn't ruin. I'm just gonna try it on my phone right now. Because
Yeah, no, it does have, it's a good.
week.
Oh, that's good. All right, try
So
to-
you said question 10?
Yeah, super minor. There was...
Which was, do you bundle your internet with any other services?
Yes.
Yeah, cable, telephone, or other.
And I thought there should probably be an option for no. I do not bundle. I don't...
Thank you. I think actually wife also said the same thing. So,
And I think that the business one, we might also want to include a question about cloud services rather than simply saying other.
I did put cloud services in some of those options
Oh,
for
okay,
some of them.
okay.
So there were
Okay.
hosted applications, cloud
Right.
services,
Backups.
yeah, online backup, offsite backup. No, that's good. Okay. So I think we should be able to send this out this week. And then I thought, like we talked about last meeting, I put it on that telecommunications page, send it out to all the group page, all the Easthampton pages, and then also make up a little flyer that maybe some of the businesses would let us just locate at the point of sale and just give like a short link to the survey and some, go take this survey kind of a thing.
Right, and we don't necessarily need to vote. We already voted on launching this, right?
did.
So
Yeah.
there's not really any additional action. It's just an opportunity.
Yeah, no, this hasn't really changed except for that addition of the non-resident, non-business
Right.
Easthampton. That was the only addition based on Ashley's suggestion.
Okay. It looks great. It's not loading on my phone because we're in a basement, but if everyone else likes it, I'm happy to say let's go for it. And as soon as it launches, we'll just all do everything we can to
Yeah,
push it and make sure that lots of people see it and weigh in on it.
great.
Do we have a sense of when we want to close it? Do we want to close it like maybe right before our next meeting, or maybe with like a couple days, so that we have some time to analyze the data and then discuss it in our next meeting? Does that
Is
make
that
sense?
sufficient time? My
A month?
only fear is that we don't, so the Chamber of Commerce just sent out their monthly newsletter, so that won't be coming around for a couple of weeks.
Okay.
I can ask Mo if she can potentially do a special email to her list that just announces it. I don't see why not. I mean, it's not like she sends out a ton of email, but
Right.
I can't.
In a way, it kind of
Speak for
highlights it,
her.
too.
Yeah, right. Having this be like not like one thing buried in like a
Right.
big newsletter of its own.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I don't see why she wouldn't do that. If so, then
Right.
yeah, we might want to do it differently.
Yeah, I'll send her an email tomorrow, just giving her this survey, because I said I'd share it with her before I sent it out,
Okay.
since she gave me some feedback earlier. I think that's really it. I mean, unless there's any other outreach, there's places I did, I stressed that this information will remain private and the data that's collected will be anonymous as a collective data
Right.
set. But we are giving people the option to share more private contact information with us. So if we do collect that, that will at least give us the beginnings of a mailing list and the beginnings of if people supply us with an address and they would like to be an early adopter. If we did go on with this, then we'll have some of that information. Sure.
No, that was really well.
So we'll see. Yeah.
Well, we could probably capture the identity of everybody who goes to the Facebook page and clicks on the link for the survey.
I don't know
If we wanted to.
I don't know if you can do
We
that.
might have to pay Facebook, but
Yeah. I mean, for enough money, Facebook's going to give you whatever you want.
That's true.
But we also have a budget of $0.
yes, I understand.
And we need to.
The best way to do it is to share. So the best way is not to share it personally, but to share it from the. So if you create a post on the telecommunications page and then you share that post out to different groups, you'll retain that original post. So instead of
Right.
posting the link yourself and saying, "Hey, go take the survey," share whatever post is on the telecommunications page. And I'll try to do it like every few days for the next 3 or 4 weeks so that people are, and I'll get Pat Broff will probably, I'll ask him if he wouldn't mind sharing because that'll get a big
Yeah.
return.
And we should probably, send an invitation to the Arts Council to let all of their arts businesses specifically know about this.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just,
Maybe put some flyers up in some of the, like, Eastworks building and the
Sure.
Cottage Street building.
yeah. And since we have a budget of nothing, if you
I
chip in a little bit for
don't feel
flyers.
bad.
And, yeah, okay.
That's why you have a copy machine upstairs.
I could ask the mayor.
And I think I'm gonna use your idea of doing, the last one was the tear off with the URL on it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that way you can go around town and go, oh, looks like people have been tearing it off.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's good.
Now, there's also that 3 planning sessions I saw about planning for the future of arts in Easthampton. We could give a presentation at one or more of those as well, if they're open to that, because this is part of, future planning for arts in terms of distribution and communication.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know that event well enough to
Yeah, I don't
know,
either. I
like,
just saw
what they're looking for a
Yeah.
scope, but if we wanted to reach out to them and see if they wanted to hear about what we're doing and how it might tie into everything, then I guess we just have to decide who's speaking. But I have no problem with that.
If you think it's a fit, and if they think that it's a fit,
Yeah.
I mean, the more exposure we get,
Sure.
right, and the more people we can reach, and if
Well,
they're gonna be
yeah.
supportive, then it's a good thing.
Cool. Let's reach out, and if there's interest, we'll talk further about it.
Yeah.
Right.
I spoke with Brendan Rogers over at the Council on Aging and possibly go in and do a short,
Well, that would
like,
be,
just something to say, hey, this survey's available, would you guys?
well, but that would be probably primarily be for the personal survey rather than the business.
Yes, right, no, it's just
Down the
another
road.
form of
Right,
outreach
right.
to have, to get as
Yeah.
many people and maybe, have the librarians talk it up with people at the
Yeah.
library and to have a workstation ready to,
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
the
Sure.
survey bookmarked and people can go and take it.
Okay. And it looks like I'm going to wind up being on the board of the Easthampton Neighbors Group out of COA.
Oh, great.
Cool.
That's awesome. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, I wanna
So yeah, I mean,
hear more when you,
survey will go live. We're thinking next couple days, and
Yeah.
then we're just all gonna push it and ask everyone else we know is civically involved to push it, and then we'll
yeah, I'll let you know when I talk to Kevin and talk to Ashley, because Ashley will be the one to share it on the homepage, the city website homepage, and the telecommunications subcommittee page.
We can also, do some PSA announcements with Easthampton Media.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. definitely. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So we thinking this will be up for about 3 weeks or so?
3 weeks to a
3
month.
weeks to a month,
A
yeah.
month.
Yeah, I figure if we get it, I mean, the fact that we only meet once a month, like, makes, like, I'd love to have data when we meet next time that we can discuss internally. So
We can look at all the available data. So when I can make you all collaborators on it, but when you, basically, it shows you all your responses and it aggregates it into, so we can see it in real time as we're collecting the
Yeah.
data.
Well,
And I
that's
figure we'll have a lot of that available within, I mean, things are gonna go downhill quickly after Memorial Day, or right going into Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
You're gonna lose a lot of people's attention.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I say let's try this, and then that would let us have a public hearing sometime in mid to late June or sometime in July to sort of present on those findings. We can basically take those and turn that into a PowerPoint. Say,
Right.
here's what we found, here's what we're doing so far.
Yeah.
But we're going to need a meeting to sit down and, you know, decide what we think is stuff that needs to be in a presentation and
Yep.
and set that all up. And I'd like to get that out before August.
But would it make sense to possibly, sorry, this might affect your presence at the next meeting, but push out a week or two, go past Memorial Day with the survey or into the first part of June, and then plan for, I know this throws off our first Monday of the month, but
Yeah, all my Mondays are pretty free. I mean, but I know other people have other obligations,
Right.
so I'm totally able to discuss that. Unfortunately, you know,
Yep.
only 5 of us are here right now.
Right.
So.
of how many, yeah, I mean,
Well, right, but
depending on who the appointments are.
ideally, we'll have 2 new people for our
Yeah.
June meeting.
Right.
So, yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Okay, so this is basically ready to deploy once I talk to Kevin and once Ashley is able to make the link live for us on the city website.
Okay.
And that doesn't preclude us from once he says it's a go to sharing it on Facebook and social media. And the Microsoft stuff, the reason, so we were going to do Google Forms originally. The reason we went with Microsoft is because Microsoft has a better privacy policy than obviously Google does in terms of not sharing or scraping the data or using it in any
Right.
other kind
I
of
mean, it looks beautiful, so.
Yeah. There's another group in Easthampton that, is it the MVP? The
Yeah.
Disaster Planning Preparedness. They just put out a survey on SurveyMonkey. I saw the link. I think Chris shared it
Right.
today. So there are other surveys out there, but I think it looks online, or the mobile version looks just as good as,
Great. That's all that matters.
so yeah.
An unsolicited opinion, but it does look really good.
Thank you. We've worked, it's been a long time on running.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So, that's,
So, did you put out your own pocket for this, or was
No.
the city doing that?
no, this is on the city, so they have their own Office 365 account, and Microsoft Forms is included in that application package. So it's pretty basic. It doesn't have the stuff that SurveyMonkey has in terms of asking complicated questions and doing all sorts of different branching, but it does exactly what we need it to do.
Great.
Okay, so we're going to have a public forum end of July-ish.
I think that's the idea. Well, maybe end of June.
Maybe in June.
I mean, if we get the data for our meeting in June, we could theoretically schedule something for. I mean, it could be our July meeting, or it could be. I mean, yeah, we can figure it out. But like, I would like to have a community forum as soon as we can, because we do have a report to write.
Yeah.
And this is going to be an important part of that.
Is it worth asking either HG&E or Whip City to come and speak, or to just maybe speak to the experience of project managing one of these, or is they're working on a lot in town and maybe is it?
I think, I mean, the way that I'd ideally like to see this right now, and I could easily be swayed, but like, is that we would come up and start with we're this committee, like we're formed for this reason, this is what we're working on, this is what we've done so far, and then touch on like some of those communities. Just to be like, we've talked to these communities and these are some interesting things that they've accomplished. So this is what makes us excited about this. So anyway, we sent out a survey, and here's what you had to say about this.
Yeah.
And then from there, members of the public can say their piece, and
Yeah.
we'll be able to take that feedback. These things are generally not supposed to really respond,
Right.
but
Yeah.
like.
But they can answer questions. I mean, I just think, I've forgotten his name, the head of Whip City Fiber is such a compelling.
Yeah, I think that they're all
Guy.
great. My only concern is that, like, if we, into that very visible public process, bring like one of a number of parties that might be
Right.
interested in bidding, it could give the appearance of
Yes.
partiality,
Right.
which obviously is not the case. It's not going to be our call
Right.
anyway, but I don't know.
Yeah, the appearance of having already selected a vendor, even though we don't even know where we're going with this,
Right.
is, yeah. Nope, I get that.
No, I agree. And really, it's we're here to talk about like our committee, what our committee's done. And,
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, I agree with that.
I just think some of that technical information we're not, not having Greg, and I mean, I think we've all learned a tremendous amount the last 8-9 months, but I think
That is true.
he's a real resource. But yeah, there's no way to get an impartial sort of resource to be able to speak to the
Yeah.
technical details.
But hopefully by that point we'll be able to
Yeah.
give some high-level details.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, is there any new business apart from that?
I have one thing, just that you might want to know, which is, as you know, we have 2 vacancies from the mayoral appointed seats on this body. And I've been bothering the mayor about that, to make those appointments every time I talk to her. And I just got a text saying that she looked at a resume for a guy named Dan Gilbert, who I know largely because he showed up to a lot of the charter review meetings. He's really interested in election reform and a lot of the same stuff that I am. In fact, I think the 3 of us ended up chatting for a while.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So Dan applied, and the mayor just left a message for him, and as long as he's still interested, she plans to submit for a temporary appointment until he can go through the whole council process. So that's one down. And there was another person who I believe applied, and then she followed up and was not able to actually reach this person, left a couple voicemails, sent an email, and just never got back. So that was kind of a dead end, but I'm hoping that by our next meeting we can have a full body again. And I didn't actually see this email, but you said that Stan is...
Stan has indicated that he will no longer be able to represent the DPW on our committee, and so we will need to find the replacement from that committee. And it sounds like
You need to submit a resignation email.
I think it's probably good enough that we put it in the minutes.
Well, I think, yeah, he might need to work that through with Barb, but I'll make sure that happens, and I'll reach out to Tom, the new Board of Public Works person who had expressed interest, and see if I can't get that to resolve before June 3rd, so that we can go into the next meeting with a full committee.
it'd be good to have a full committee for our forum as well.
Yeah, that would probably be a good look. So,
Yeah.
but that's the only thing I really have to report right now.
Okay.
I may not make it to the end of the year.
You're thinking, yeah?
If I'm moving, I might be moving to Florida possibly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, congratulations.
It's gonna be a while. I'm like, 3
Right.
or 4 months probably.
Okay.
So we can sell our house. We're
Cool.
You still
Well-
gonna sign up for Easthampton Fiber?
in Florida. Yeah.
I guess just I'm sure that like the folks on the planning board are aware that that's
No,
Oh, they're not?
no.
Oh.
I haven't told anybody yet.
Well, yeah, I guess the,
Because I'm not sure when it's gonna happen. so
Right,
I'm not
right,
gonna
right.
say anything. But I'm just
Yeah.
giving you a heads up, that's all.
cool. All right, well, you know, if that happens, then they'll have to figure that
It's
out.
gonna be a while. But to get somebody out of there, up the planning board, would be really difficult.
Yeah,
Because you got people that are really, I mean, they're all over the place, they're really busy.
yeah. Yeah, so we'll have to,
You got like an engineer, he's out of state a lot, you got a lawyer who's down in Boston all the time. Jimmy'd be great for this,
yeah.
but he's so busy, you know?
Yeah,
He's the one that's on Easthampton, isn't
No, I
he?
know.
yeah.
He'd be really good at this.
Yeah.
But he's just so busy, you know, so tied up.
Yeah, so we'll have to,
I mean, there's a couple of, I mean, I'm not sure if our alternate would be interested.
right,
I mean,
right,
he knows just about as much about this as I do.
right.
So he'd be good.
Yeah, well, you know, we'll cross that bridge.
Jimmy Valancourt, I don't know if you know him or not.
Yeah, yeah, I know. That could work. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Chet,
Might we want to ask the school department if they want to offer anyone?
Well, we had just sort of set this, I just sort of set this up by an ordinance that sort
No,
of,
no. But I meant, you know, having high-speed internet in everyone's home is going to change the way the schools
yeah, educate,
work
I agree.
also.
No, you're completely correct there. I mean, yeah, and if it looks like there's gonna be serious membership issues with just like either keeping this many people on or having people from specific boards or committees, or if it seems like that's not a great fit, I can always go and amend the ordinance to say,
Right.
like if we decided that it wasn't realistic to have somebody from the planning board, we could just go and say that we're not gonna have somebody from the planning board. That's not, like, that's totally something we can just do. Yeah, let's just play it by ear for now. If it looks like it's gonna be a major issue, I'll just bring that to the council. Actually, we might want to sort of be thoughtful of that because the first, like the original ordinance that we had, it basically said this committee exists for a year for the purpose of writing this report.
Right.
And I do think that that's going to happen, but I think that we might want to go back and revise that ordinance to sort of clarify with all that we've learned about this, what the purpose of this committee is going forward, because, you know, we can write something, but there's just still probably going to be a lot of work to be done, where we can be helpful, so.
And maybe we should also change it, rather than setting a definite date of a year, of say the committee will be in session or will continue to work on this until our report is accepted by the city.
Right, because they might.
Because they might
Yeah.
push it back to us and want to change, and it goes
Right.
on. And
Okay, so for next meeting, actually, let's put that on the agenda, if you're cool with that, to actually go over our ordinance.
Okay.
Yes,
And,
absolutely.
and see if there's any recommended changes. And if there is anything, then I'll kick that back up to the full council.
Excellent.
All right.
So if anybody was interested in the article that Stan had shared earlier, I printed out some copies for Plainfield. They had voted to approve broadband funding for their own town. They have a very, very small community. And I don't know, it didn't say in the article what they had currently.
No, I know. And they have nothing. I have some friends who grew up there. They have what you can get on your phone. It's very remote. I mean, I think they have like maybe like DSL through the phone line.
Really?
Like they don't have, the cable is a non-existent. I mean, even where I grew up in Williamsburg, there's no cable. You're talking 45 minutes further up into the hills. So.
Yeah. So, well, so that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a cool story.
Cool story. And it looks like Whip City Fiber is doing theirs.
Yeah, you know, a lot of those, so the more rural communities, they're getting like a lot of grant money because, so they're kind of in like it's interesting that they're in a way different situation than us because their situation is that no community has even wanted to get in, while ours is that like a provider has come into the community but then has not really felt any incentive to invest in quality or speed or keeping prices reasonable or anything like that. So
It'd be interesting to see some of the changes on the national scale with all these rural communities having this outstanding internet and so many of the more populated areas not. And if we're going to see population shift, industry shift into these rural communities for things which we wouldn't necessarily consider traditional, economic industries in the rural areas.
Sure.
If you see that, and I think it's cyclical, but you'll see this cycle where it'll be all about telecommuting and remote employees and things like that, and then there'll be something like when Marissa Meyer had her backlash against remote employees when she was at Yahoo, a few years ago. She just was like, we don't do that, and it brought it back again, and the trend went down, and now you see it come back. I think as more and more, being able to be a remote employee and live in a place that's more affordable, but have a salary that's based on living in California or Massachusetts even is incredibly powerful as an economic driver.
yeah.
So.
And in relation to the grant money, if we get the school district involved with us, then they may be able to allocate some of their E-rate money to help get this going. I don't know if they can or not, or if they even have any more.
Yeah, I have no
But,
idea how that works. I know that right now the school is probably
Not a good time to talk to the school about
maybe we wait until October or so.
help us.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's all right.
It's not.
No, because they couldn't use the E-rate money for anything other than
Right.
telecommunications.
It's true. I have no idea what their situation with that is right now, but that is a good point that we should, it probably wouldn't hurt to figure out what's going on there.
Would they, if we did end up doing a municipal network, would they continue? I know they have their own right now, a smaller ring that supports the library and the schools and the municipal building. Would everyone? Would they stay on that?
I have no idea. I think that ideally the idea is that network would be
Close
built
network.
out to be everyone.
Yeah.
But maybe there's a value in having a separate dedicated closed network. These are the sort of
Longer term questions.
All we need to do is plant an edge router between their network and our network, and that'll control traffic and allow it to be one when it's needed and not when it's not. They're also in the COA. They have fiber in the COA as well.
Yeah.
Because it's a municipal building.
yeah.
I know that the school pays for the internet at the parks office, at the parks department. Which is interesting.
That's interesting.
And it's it's just a hotspot. That's all I have over there.
Oh, really?
It's a public hotspot.
It's no, just for their office.
Oh, okay.
For that mobile
Okay.
office?
Yeah.
Well, I guess
I didn't know if you were talking generically or technically.
That makes sense because it's right next to the school.
Yeah. Well, so they used to do one of those. It must have been a line of sight, a laser pointed from the top of the school into the park office. Yes, it was awesome, but it was very unreliable, very slow, and so
Killed a lot of birds.
eventually the school just said, you know what, we're gonna pay for you to have the hotspot from I don't know if it's Verizon, but it's some wires or whatever, and but. It's Parks Department funding, which is now being covered by the school, which is such a small amount of money, but
Yeah.
it may be because they have to spend it on something for time. Actually, okay. Anything else for today?
I think that's all that I have. I'm psyched to see that survey go up. And
Yeah.
I'll do everything I can to make sure that people see that.
Yeah,
participate.
excellent. I think it'll be good to.
So should I plan on doing a presentation at the next meeting? Or is that okay, or?
I think that's
Yeah.
that's great. Up to the chair, but
I hope it'll make it worth the while.
sweet.
Very cool.
I'll make a motion to adjourn then.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen.